The transport vessel Galactic Horizon trembled as it pierced through Earth's turbulent atmosphere, a cacophony of electromagnetic interference and plasma storms battering its advanced shielding. Inside the main observation deck, 5 alien exchange students clutched their restraint systems, each experiencing a unique blend of terror and academic anticipation. Professor Xendrix's final briefing replayed in their neural interfaces, his words a haunting prelude to their most challenging research expedition. Earth is not a planet. It is a crucible of survival. Zora, a being composed of intricate crystalline structures, watched the external sensors with mesmerizing intensity. Tendrils of electrical discharge danced outside the viewport, each lightning bolt a potential molecular disruptor that would have instantly shattered the physical form of most known galactic species. Yet here, on this blue-green planet, such phenomena were merely a mundane atmospheric event. To her left, Krax adjusted his silicon-based environmental suit. The methane-breathing researcher had spent decades studying planetary ecosystems, but nothing in his extensive database could have prepared him for the complexity of Earth. Holographic displays flickered with a constant stream of planetary data. Temperature fluctuations that defied standard biological tolerance, weather patterns of unprecedented volatility, and biochemical interactions that seemed to laugh in the face of known scientific principles. Iltok, a tentacled researcher known for exceptional empathetic capabilities, monitored the emotional resonance within the transport. The mixture of excitement, apprehension, and raw scientific curiosity created a symphonic blend of neural emissions that would have been fascinating under any other circumstances. But Earth was different. Earth was special. Vorn, representing a high-gravity species from a dense planetary system, seemed the most physically prepared for potentially challenging conditions. His muscular structure, evolved to withstand pressures that would crush most other life forms, gave him a unique perspective on planetary survival. Yet even he showed signs of nervous anticipation. The 5th member of their research team, Mira, was a photosynthetic energy being whose very existence depended on precise environmental conditions. Her translucent form seemed to shimmer with nervous energy, absorbing and reflecting the internal lighting of the transport vessel. The planetary entry sequence triggered a series of automated briefings. Each student received a comprehensive overview of Earth's most challenging characteristics. Temperature ranges that spanned from -128 degrees to +57 degrees Celsius. Atmospheric compositions that included multiple reactive gases, geological systems featuring tectonic plate movements, volcanic activities, and meteorological events capable of reshaping entire landscapes. Multiple extinction-level events, muttered Krax, reviewing the historical data. And yet, life persisted, evolved, thrived. The transport's computer system began its standard planetary approach protocol. External sensors mapped the landing zone, a carefully selected suburban area that would provide maximum observational opportunities with minimal potential for disruptive interactions. Preliminary atmospheric scan complete, announced the vessel's artificial intelligence. Warning: ultraviolet radiation levels significantly higher than galactic standard. Recommend enhanced molecular stabilization protocols. Zora's crystalline structure momentarily flickered, a rare sign of her internal processing. The data before her challenged every established scientific understanding of planetary habitability. Earth wasn't just a planet. It was an ongoing experiment in survival. As the transport began its final descent, each researcher prepared their specialized recording equipment. Microscopic sensors, quantum analysis interfaces, emotional resonance monitors, an arsenal of scientific instruments designed to capture every nuance of human existence. The suburban landscape approached. Neat rows of structures, complex transportation networks, vegetation carefully cultivated and maintained. It looked deceptively peaceful, but the research team knew better. They had studied the reports. They had analyzed the data. Earth was a world where every natural process seemed designed to challenge life itself. And yet, life not only survived here, it flourished. Their mission was about to begin. 5 alien researchers would spend the next standard galactic cycle attempting to understand the most perplexing species in the known universe, humans. Little did they know how much their understanding would be challenged. The suburban neighborhood materialized around the research team like a living, breathing ecosystem. Perfectly manicured lawns stretched between identical housing structures, each detail a testament to human organization and environmental manipulation. Vorn's gravitational sensors immediately began mapping the complex interactions between artificial landscaping and natural biological systems. Krax deployed his initial surface analysis probes, watching in fascination as the small devices navigated the intricate terrain. Grass blades, seemingly simple organisms, revealed extraordinary complexity. Each plant demonstrated remarkable adaptability, bending under pressure, recovering from damage, maintaining structural integrity under conditions that would devastate most known plant life. A young human child caught their attention. She was playing near a tree, a scenario that would have triggered immediate safety protocols on most inhabited worlds. Children were typically protected in controlled environments, shielded from potential environmental hazards. Here, the child moved with uncalculated freedom. Observation log. Eeltok focalized, his empathetic sensors stretching to capture the emotional landscape. Human juvenile demonstrates remarkable spatial awareness and risk assessment capabilities. The child climbed the tree with a natural grace that defied the team's understanding of physical limitations. Branches that looked fragile supported her weight. Movements that should have been precarious appeared fluid and confident. When she eventually lost balance and fell, the research team collectively held their breath. But instead of triggering an emergency medical response, the child simply rolled, absorbed the impact, and stood up laughing. Vorn's bio-impact sensors registered data that seemed impossible. The fall should have resulted in multiple skeletal fractures, soft tissue damage, and potential neurological disruption. Instead, the human child appeared completely unaffected, her emotional state indicating pure joy rather than trauma. Recalibrating impact tolerance parameters, muttered Krax, his silicon-based processing units working overtime to comprehend the observation. Mira focused her photosynthetic sensors on the surrounding environment. Ultraviolet radiation levels that would have instantly sterilized most known life forms seemed to have minimal impact on the humans. Children played outside without protective membranes, without emergency radiation mitigation protocols. A nearby adult human noticed the research team's intense observation. Instead of displaying defensive behavior, he approached with an expression of casual curiosity. "First time in the neighborhood?" the human asked, his vocal patterns indicating a friendly disposition. Eeltok's empathetic sensors went into overdrive. The human's emotional signature suggested no threat detection, no territorial aggression, just genuine, open curiosity. The team had prepared extensive communication protocols, translation matrices that could interpret complex linguistic and cultural nuances. Yet this simple interaction challenged everything they had prepared. Zara's crystalline structure momentarily flickered, a rare display of internal processing complexity. Humans didn't just survive in their environment. They integrated with it, transformed it, found joy within its most challenging parameters. A lawn maintenance device, what humans casually called a lawnmower, caught their attention. Vorn analyzed its operation with scientific precision. A mechanical device designed to systematically manage biological growth, operated by a human walking behind it in direct sunlight, amid temperature variations that would have required specialized environmental suits for most galactic species. Water distribution system is inefficient, Krax noted, observing the manual watering of plants, yet demonstrates remarkable adaptive agricultural management. Nearby, a group of children played a complex physical interaction game involving a spherical object. They ran, jumped, collided, and separated with a fluidity that suggested an almost intuitive understanding of physics and biomechanics. Eeltok's emotional sensors detected something extraordinary. These humans weren't just surviving. They were experiencing, finding joy in physical existence that most species would consider dangerous, unpredictable, potentially fatal. A dog, a domesticated biological companion, wandered near the research team. Zara's sensors detected multiple layers of interspecies communication, a complex social bond that defied standard ecological understanding. As the day progressed, the alien researchers began to realize that their preliminary data, their years of study, their entire understanding of planetary life, was woefully inadequate. Earth was not just a planet. It was a living, breathing testament to the power of adaptation, resilience, and unexpected capability. And they had only just begun to understand. The construction site erupted with a symphony of mechanical sounds and human activity that defied every known galactic workplace safety protocol. Eeltok positioned his primary observation platform, tentacles trembling with scientific excitement as he began to document the extraordinary scene before him. Massive steel structures rose against the sky, manipulated by humans using a combination of mechanical assistance and raw physical capability that seemed to challenge the fundamental laws of biomechanical possibility. Workers moved with a fluid precision that suggested an almost intuitive understanding of physics, weight distribution, and environmental interaction. Preliminary observation. Eeltok vocalized into his research log. Human workers demonstrate extraordinary physical and cognitive adaptability in high-risk environmental conditions. Vorn's gravitational sensors worked overtime, analyzing the incredible feats of human strength and endurance. A worker lifted a steel beam that would have required advanced robotic assistance on most developed worlds. The human accomplished this task with a combination of mechanical assistance and personal strength, moving with a grace that suggested the load was almost inconsequential. Temperature readings fluctuated wildly. Direct sunlight created surface temperatures that would have instantly incapacitated most known working species. Yet the human workers continued their tasks, protected by nothing more than layers of fabric and occasional application of a protective chemical substance they called sunscreen. Krax focused his silicon-based analysis systems on the electromagnetic environment. The site was a chaos of electrical equipment, radio communications, and complex mechanical interactions. Any other species would have required extensive shielding and minimal movement to operate in such an environment. These humans worked seamlessly. A worker walked through an area of significant electromagnetic interference, a zone that would have instantly disrupted the neural networks of most galactic species. Not only did the human survive, but he also continued his task with apparent indifference, communicating with colleagues, manipulating complex tools, maintaining perfect balance. Recalibrating interference tolerance parameters, muttered Krax, his processing units struggling to comprehend the observation. Mirrorized photosynthetic sensors captured the nuanced interactions between human workers. Communication was more than verbal. Body language, subtle gestures, almost imperceptible changes in facial expressions conveyed complex layers of information. They worked as a unified organism, anticipating each other's movements, compensating for individual limitations, creating a collective capability that exceeded individual potential. A sudden loud noise, what humans called a power tool, erupted nearby. Most species would have required extensive auditory protection. These workers seemed barely to notice, their biological systems adapting to the sound with remarkable efficiency. Safety protocols were fascinating. Humans use minimal protective equipment compared to galactic workplace standards. Hard hats, specialized footwear, occasional protective eyewear. Yet their injury response and recovery systems seemed almost miraculous. Eeltok observed a worker accidentally strike his hand with a heavy tool, an impact that would have resulted in total structural failure for most species. The human paused, examined the injury, applied a small adhesive bandage, and continued working. Biological repair capabilities exceed all known galactic standards, he noted in his research log. The complexity of human tool use became another point of fascination. Each worker carried multiple specialized tools, switching between them with a dexterity that suggested an almost symbiotic relationship between biological capability and technological extension. Welding processes created intense heat and light that would have been fatal to most known life forms. These humans worked surrounded by controlled explosions of energy, protected by nothing more than a simple protective face shield and apparent professional confidence. Vorn's gravitational sensors detected something extraordinary. The workers moved not just with physical strength, but with an understanding of environmental dynamics that suggested a deep, almost intuitive comprehension of physical laws. As the day progressed, the research team realized they were witnessing something far more significant than a simple workplace observation. This was a fundamental demonstration of a species that did not just survive in challenging environments. They transformed those environments, made them productive, found joy in the process of creation. The construction site was more than a workplace. It was a living testament to human capability. And they had only begun to understand. The Medical Research Center presented a clinical landscape that challenged everything the alien researchers thought they knew about biological survival. Mira's photosynthetic sensors stretched to their maximum sensitivity, capturing every nuance of the complex human medical environment. Historical medical records became a treasure trove of impossible survival stories. Each digital file represented a challenge to fundamental galactic understanding of biological limitations. Crax's computational systems worked overtime, processing data that seemed to defy logical explanation. A case file from the early 21st century caught their attention. A human had survived a fall from over 10 kilometers, with multiple severe injuries that should have been terminal. Not only did the individual survive, but they had eventually returned to full functional capacity after an extensive recovery period. Recalibrating survival probability algorithms, Crax muttered, his silicon-based processors struggling to comprehend the data. Yiltok's empathetic sensors detected something beyond the raw medical statistics. Each survival story carried an emotional resonance of determination, hope, and an inexplicable will to overcome. Humans didn't just survive medical challenges, they fought against them with a psychological fortitude that transcended biological expectation. Vorn examined the medical imaging technologies. Humans had developed sophisticated methods of internal observation that allowed them to diagnose and treat conditions that would have been considered completely untreatable for most galactic species. Complex surgical procedures that involved manipulating internal biological structures with microscopic precision. A section on immunological responses revealed the most shocking data. Humans developed immunities to diseases that had wiped out entire civilizations across the galaxy. Their biological systems seemed to not just defend against pathogens, but actively learn and adapt with each encounter. Zara's crystalline structure vibrated with scientific excitement. Medical records from various planetary environments told a story of extraordinary adaptability. Humans had developed medical treatments that allowed them to survive in environments ranging from Arctic research stations to desert exploration zones, from deep-sea laboratories to high-altitude research centers. The research team discovered a particularly fascinating medical record. A human had survived total organ failure, only to have their body systematically regenerate and rebuild critical biological systems. Most species would have required complete biological reconstruction, or would have simply expired. Biomolecular regeneration capabilities exceed all known galactic standards, Mira observed, her energy-based form flickering with analytical intensity. Vaccination records presented another marvel. Humans had developed methods to prepare their biological systems against potential future threats, creating immunity before direct exposure. It was a level of proactive biological defense that seemed almost prescient. Genetic research files revealed an even more complex picture. Human DNA demonstrated an extraordinary capacity for adaptive mutation, where most species would experience catastrophic genetic breakdown when exposed to environmental stressors. Humans showed remarkable resilience and adaptability. A particularly striking case involved a human who had survived extreme radiation exposure, a level that would have instantly sterilized most known life forms. Not only did the individual survive, but they also maintained most of their critical biological functions. Yiltok's emotional sensors detected something beyond the medical data. Each survival story carried a profound narrative of hope, determination, and an almost inexplicable drive to overcome biological limitations. Cracks analyzed survival statistics from various environmental challenges, extreme temperature variations, chemical exposures, physical traumas that would have been fatal to most species. Humans not only survived but often returned to full functional capacity. The Medical Research Center was more than a collection of buildings and technological systems. It was a testament to human biological capability, a living laboratory of survival and adaptation. Vorn's gravitational sensors detected subtle patterns in human medical approach. They didn't just treat diseases. They studied them, understood them, developed methods to prevent and overcome them. Each medical challenge became an opportunity for scientific advancement. As the day progressed, the research team realized they were witnessing something far more significant than a simple medical observation. This was a fundamental demonstration of a species that did not just survive biological challenges. They transformed their understanding of biological possibility. The medical records were more than documentation. They were a blueprint of human resilience, and they had only begun to understand. The Research Center's Psychological Analysis Wing presented a landscape of complexity that defied every known galactic understanding of cognitive resilience. ELTOC's empathetic sensors stretched to their maximum capacity, struggling to process the intricate emotional and psychological data surrounding human behavior. Cracks initiated a comprehensive computational analysis of human stress response patterns. Most known species experienced progressive degradation of cognitive and physical capabilities under sustained environmental challenges. Humans demonstrated something entirely different, a remarkable ability to not just endure, but to innovate and thrive under conditions that would crush most civilizations. Historical records of human responses to global challenges became a focal point of investigation. Economic collapses, natural disasters, global health crises, each scenario revealed a pattern of psychological adaptation that seemed to defy fundamental principles of biological stress response. Recalibrating psychological resilience parameters, Cracks muttered, his silicon-based processors working overtime to comprehend the data. Vorn's gravitational sensors detected subtle psychological dynamics that went beyond standard computational analysis. Humans didn't just respond to challenges, they transformed them into opportunities for growth, innovation, and collective advancement. A case study from a global pandemic in the early 21st century caught their attention. While most species would have experienced total societal breakdown, humans demonstrated extraordinary levels of adaptation. They developed new communication technologies, reimagined work structures, created innovative solutions to unprecedented challenges. Zara's crystalline structure vibrated with scientific excitement. The psychological data revealed a species that found motivation in adversity, that seemed to grow stronger with each challenge encountered. The research team discovered a fascinating psychological phenomenon humans called post-traumatic growth, where most species would experience permanent psychological damage from significant trauma. Humans often emerged stronger, more resilient, more innovative. Mira's photosynthetic sensors captured the emotional landscape of human support systems. Individual psychological challenges were met with complex social support networks that demonstrated extraordinary empathy and collective resilience. Educational records provided another layer of fascinating insight. Humans approached learning as a lifelong process, continuously adapting their cognitive capabilities. Most galactic species had rigid learning periods with minimal post-educational development. Humans, by contrast, seemed to view every challenge as a learning opportunity. ELTOC's empathetic analysis revealed something profound. Human creativity peaked during periods of extreme stress, a psychological response completely unknown in most galactic civilizations. Where other species would shut down, humans would generate innovative solutions. A series of psychological profiles demonstrated an extraordinary range of coping mechanisms: artistic expression, technological innovation, philosophical reframing. Humans transformed psychological challenges into sources of personal and collective advancement. Cracks analyzed creativity metrics during various global challenges. Economic downturns sparked innovative business models. Social challenges triggered profound social movements. Environmental challenges drove technological breakthroughs. The most striking observation came from studying human responses to seemingly insurmountable challenges. A global economic collapse would typically trigger total societal breakdown for most known species. Humans responded by redesigning economic systems, creating new technologies, finding innovative paths forward. Vorn's sensors detected a unique psychological dynamic. Humans didn't just adapt to challenges, they seemed to require them. Periods of extreme stability appeared to generate more psychological stress than periods of challenge. The research team uncovered psychological case studies that defied standard galactic understanding. Individuals who had experienced extreme personal traumas, physical disabilities, social challenges, economic hardships, who not only survived but transformed their experiences into sources of personal and collective advancement. Yeltok's emotional sensors detected an underlying current that transcended individual psychological responses. There was a collective psychological mechanism that allowed humans to process challenges as opportunities for growth. As the day progressed, the research team realized they were witnessing something far more significant than a simple psychological observation. This was a fundamental demonstration of a species that did not just survive psychological challenges, they transformed their understanding of psychological possibility. The Psychological Research Center was more than a collection of data points. It was a living testament to human cognitive resilience. A species that didn't just endure, a species that evolved through challenge. And they had only begun to understand. The Technology Research Center pulsed with an energy that challenged every established galactic understanding of technological development. Crax's silicon-based sensors went into overdrive, processing information that seemed to defy the fundamental principles of technological evolution. Humans hadn't just developed technology. They had transformed technological innovation into a fundamental survival mechanism. Space exploration records became the primary focus of the research team's investigation. Most galactic species developed space technology as a carefully measured, generations-long process of incremental advancement. Humans had gone from first-powered flight to interplanetary exploration in barely more than half a century. Vorn's gravitational sensors analyzed the early spacecraft designs. Primitive metal containers, protected by minimal shielding, launched into the most hostile environment imaginable, the vacuum of space, where most species would have required generations of protective development. Humans approached space exploration with an almost reckless determination. Technological adaptation exceeds all known computational models. Crax muttered, his processing units struggling to comprehend the data. The lunar landing records presented a particularly fascinating study. Humans had traveled to another celestial body using computational technology less powerful than a modern communication device. They had solved complex mathematical and engineering challenges with limited resources, pure determination, and an unprecedented ability to innovate under extreme constraints. Mira's photosynthetic sensors captured the intricate details of human technological development. Each technological solution was more than a mechanical innovation. It was a direct response to environmental challenges. Medical technologies, communication systems, transportation networks, every advancement seemed to emerge from a fundamental need to overcome limitations. Survival technologies told an even more remarkable story. Humans had developed protective systems for environments that would have been considered completely uninhabitable by most galactic species. Deep-sea exploration equipment, Arctic research station technologies, desert survival gear. Each innovation represented a direct challenge to environmental limitations. Yeltok's empathetic sensors detected something beyond the raw technological data. Each technological advancement carried an emotional signature of hope, curiosity, and an inexplicable drive to push beyond known boundaries. Communication technologies presented another marvel of human innovation. From primitive radio systems to global communication networks, humans had developed technologies that transformed their understanding of collective knowledge and interaction. Most species would have required centuries to develop such complex communication systems. Zara's crystalline structure vibrated with scientific excitement as she analyzed renewable energy technologies. Humans had developed methods to harness environmental energy sources in ways that most galactic civilizations would have considered impossible. Solar collectors, wind turbines, advanced battery technologies. Each innovation represented a direct dialogue with their planetary environment. Medical technologies revealed the most shocking level of innovative capability. Prosthetic systems that integrated directly with biological neural networks. Genetic therapies that could modify biological capabilities. Diagnostic technologies that could detect and predict medical challenges with unprecedented accuracy. Cracks discovered something extraordinary in the technological archives. Humans didn't just develop technologies to solve existing problems. They developed technologies that created entirely new possibilities, new ways of understanding their world and themselves. Vorn's sensors detected a unique technological dynamic. Where most species develop technologies through careful, measured scientific processes, humans seem to approach technological innovation with a combination of scientific rigor and creative imagination. Artificial intelligence research presented another fascinating avenue of investigation. Humans were developing computational systems capable of learning, adapting, and potentially achieving independent cognitive capabilities. Most galactic species would have approached such development with extreme caution. Humans seem to view it as another frontier of exploration. The research team uncovered technological case studies that defied standard galactic understanding. Technologies developed to solve specific environmental challenges that ended up transforming entire industries. Medical innovations that emerged from completely unrelated fields of study. As the day progressed, the research team realized they were witnessing something far more significant than a simple technological observation. This was a fundamental demonstration of a species that did not just develop technologies, they transformed their understanding of technological possibility. The Technology Research Center was more than a collection of machines and computational systems. It was a living testament to human innovative capability. A species that didn't just use technology, a species that became technology. And they had only begun to understand. The Research Compilation Center hummed with an energy that seemed to vibrate with the potential of new understanding. Zara's crystalline structure pulsed with an intensity that suggested they were on the brink of something extraordinary. Crax's computational systems processed the accumulated data from weeks of research. What had begun as a standard sinological study had transformed into something far more profound. Humans were not just another species to be cataloged. They were a fundamental force of adaptation and survival. Preliminary comprehensive analysis shows complete deviation from standard galactic species development models. Cracks vocalize, his silicon-based processors working at maximum capacity. Vorn's gravitational sensors detected nuanced patterns that defied traditional scientific understanding. Most galactic species developed along predictable evolutionary trajectories. Humans seemed to rewrite their own developmental rules with each generation. The research team had compiled a comprehensive overview that challenged everything known about biological, psychological, and technological development. Humans demonstrated capabilities that seemed to exist beyond the traditional understanding of species advancement. Eeltalk's empathetic sensors captured the emotional landscape of this discovery. It was more than scientific data. It was a fundamental reimagining of what intelligent life could be. Environmental adaptation stood out as a primary point of fascination. Where most species would require generations of genetic modification to survive in challenging environments, humans developed technological and cultural solutions that allowed immediate adaptation. From Arctic research stations to desert exploration centers, from deep-sea laboratories to high-altitude research facilities, humans seem to view environmental challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles. Mira's photosynthetic sensors analyze the collective human approach to global challenges. Most galactic species would experience total systemic breakdown when faced with planetary-scale problems. Humans demonstrated an extraordinary ability to develop collective solutions, to innovate, to transform challenges into opportunities for advancement. The team's research revealed a species that existed in a constant state of dynamic evolution. Not just biological evolution, but technological, cultural, and social evolution that occurred at an unprecedented rate. Technological development presented another marvel. Most galactic civilizations developed technologies through careful, measured scientific processes. Humans approached technological innovation with a combination of scientific rigor and creative imagination that seemed almost magical. Technological adaptation rate exceeds all known computational models. Cracks noted, his processing units struggling to comprehend the data. Psychological resilience emerged as perhaps the most fascinating discovery. Where most species would experience progressive degradation under sustained environmental challenges, humans demonstrated an ability to not just endure, but to grow, to innovate, to find motivation in adversity. The research team uncovered case studies that defied standard galactic understanding. Economic collapses that triggered innovative economic models. Social challenges that generated profound movements of collective advancement. Environmental threats that sparked technological breakthroughs. Zara's crystalline structure vibrated with scientific excitement. Each data point revealed a species that didn't just survive. They transformed their understanding of survival itself. Medical capabilities presented another layer of extraordinary discovery. Humans developed immunities to diseases that would have wiped out entire civilizations. They created medical technologies that allowed recovery from injuries that would have been terminal for most known species. Vorn sensors detected a unique dynamic that went beyond individual capabilities. There was a collective mechanism of adaptation, a social and technological flexibility that allowed humans to respond to challenges with unprecedented speed and creativity. The comprehensive research suggested something revolutionary. Humans were not just adapting to their environment. They were actively reshaping it, transforming not just their planet, but potentially their entire understanding of existence. Eeltok's emotional sensors detected an underlying current of hope, curiosity, and an inexhaustible drive to push beyond known boundaries. As the final compilation of research neared completion, the team realized they were documenting something far more significant than a simple species study. This was a fundamental challenge to established galactic understanding of intelligent life. The research center was more than a collection of data points. It was a living testament to a species that existed beyond traditional understanding. A species that didn't just survive. A species that redefined the very concept of survival. And they had only begun to understand. The Galactic University's grand presentation hall fell silent as the 5 alien researchers prepared to share their findings. Centuries of established scientific understanding were about to be challenged. Cracks initiated the holographic display, his silicon-based processors trembling with the weight of their discovery. The computational system struggled to compress the complexity of human potential into a comprehensible format. Distinguished colleagues, Eeltok began, his empathetic sensors broadcasting a mixture of excitement and profound respect. We present our comprehensive study of humanity, a species that defies every known parameter of galactic understanding. Vorn's gravitational sensors detected the subtle shifts in the audience's collective emotional landscape. Confusion, skepticism, underlying currents of anticipation. The first holographic projection displayed humanity's geological history, a planet of extreme conditions, frequent extinction-level events, multiple environmental challenges that would have permanently eliminated most known life forms. Yet, life not only survived, it thrived. Mira's photosynthetic sensors projected detailed analyses of human adaptation. Where most species would require generations of genetic modification to survive challenging environments, humans developed technological and cultural solutions with remarkable speed. Medical records told a story of impossible survival. Injuries that would have been terminal for most species became opportunities for recovery and innovation. Humans didn't just heal, they transformed their understanding of biological limitation with each challenge. Zara's crystalline structure pulsed with scientific excitement as technological development timelines appeared. Most galactic civilizations required millennia to develop basic interstellar technologies. Humans had gone from first-powered flight to exploring multiple planetary bodies in barely a century. Technological adaptation rate exceeds all known computational models, Crax noted, his processing units struggling to comprehend the data. Psychological resilience emerged as perhaps the most fascinating discovery. Where most species would experience progressive degradation under sustained environmental challenges, humans demonstrated an ability to not just endure, but to grow, to innovate, to find motivation in adversity. The presentation revealed case studies that defied standard galactic understanding, economic challenges that triggered innovative economic models, social disruptions that generated profound movements of collective advancement, environmental threats that sparked technological breakthroughs. Communication technologies presented another marvel. Humans had developed global networks that transformed collective knowledge sharing. Most species would have required centuries to develop such complex interactive systems. Space exploration records told a story of unprecedented determination. Primitive metal containers, minimally shielded, launched into the most hostile environment imaginable, where most species would have required generations of protective development. Humans approached space exploration with an almost reckless optimism. Eeltok's empathetic sensors detected something beyond the raw data. Each technological advancement, each survival story carried an emotional signature of hope, curiosity, and an inexhaustible drive to push beyond known boundaries. The final projection showed something unprecedented. The comprehensive view of human potential that suggested they were not just another species, but a fundamental force of adaptation and survival. Humanity represents more than a biological entity, Vorn announced. They are a dynamic system of continuous adaptation, innovation, and transformation. The presentation concluded with a simple yet profound statement. Humans were not just surviving. They were redefining the very concept of survival. Silence filled the presentation hall. Centuries of established scientific understanding had been fundamentally challenged. The research team's final recommendation was equally shocking. Humanity should not be studied as a passive subject. They should be understood as a potential key to understanding evolution, adaptation, and the fundamental nature of intelligent life. A single holographic image remained, a human child playing, surrounded by complex technological systems, medical innovations, and environmental challenges. A simple representation of a species that turned limitations into opportunities. Crax's final computational analysis resonated through the hall. Humans are not just a species. They are a living laboratory of possibility. The galaxy would never be the same. And they had only begun to understand.